gentlemen. Today is a very good Monday since the Game Awards have been announced. And the nominees are on, so you can vote. But video games are not the only ones to get awards this year. The sports industry are also holding their awards gala, and today we have a very special guest. But first things first, today I'm in a very good company with my lovely gamer lawyer, Yasmina Muller. How are you doing, Yasmina?
Really good and so excited because we have an amazing guest. We actually have it already in the first season of Esports International, but here we are going to talk about the Esports Awards, this gala that is going to take place in the Vegas. But I have to talk about you as well. So, Laura, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, and this is Laura Luna, host in Sports Be Live, a content creator and fighting game commentator. And today we are having a very special guy in the sports industry, the CEO of the Sports Awards, the man who makes it possible to have this gala. And here we go, Mike Ashford, the one and only.
Hey, how are we doing today?
I'm very happy to have you with us. You've been in Sports Be Live in previous seasons, and it's an honor to have you here today again. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. Very well. Usually this time of the year, I am basically a wreck. So the fact I look somewhat put together is a testament to how well my team are doing in putting together our event happening in just under a month.
We are really excited about it, and you look good, even if you're probably with a lot of stress right now because it's like almost a few weeks and just a few days, and it's going to happen all this great event. And but also, I know a lot of people is going to be really excited and they're going to ask you a lot about this event. But I have to highlight that I love the award that you have behind for Esports Business Live. We are really excited to see it there.
This is no product
in its
placement
pride
at
of
all.
place.
He has not been paid to display the award.
Yeah. No hashtag ad. No, I'm very proud to have been awarded the award back for 2020, back when we did the first episode together and got to talk a little bit around everything that we were doing during the pandemic. And at that point, our excitement about actually being able to put a live event back on in 2021, which was a very different time, it's fair to say.
It was a different time. We are really excited to have you here and feel like home. And we are really excited. So, Lara, you want to do the first question here because I'm so excited and nervous
Yeah.
even.
The first and very important question today is the Sports Awards new edition. What can you tell us at the moment about what you have prepared for this new edition?
I think lots is the easy plural to throw out, but it's no secret at this point. It's Viva Las Esports Awards for 2022. We are so excited at our new destination and the work that's gone into building Las Vegas as the home of the Esports Awards. We are at a $4.3 billion mega resort for 2022,
Wow.
which is Resorts World Las Vegas. It is the most expensive resort ever built on American soil. It is the heart of Las Vegas, and we're going to be the first award show premiering at the AEG Resorts World Theatre, which itself is a mega structure in its own right, worthy of any award show on the planet, whether it's the Oscars, the Grammys, or even the Esports Awards. So we're hopefully bigger, better, brighter than ever before. We always try and raise the bar and the level of what we can do with an award ceremony. And I actually think the word award ceremonies for us is very loose at this stage, because alongside being an award ceremony, we run a lot of experiential and business conference led events as well. So you can join us for a celebrity pro-am golf tournament. You can join us for a business conference. You can join us for helicopter rides, and obviously
What?
two
I got
ceremonies.
what?
Yeah, all in 72 hours. It's a crazy event.
Wow, my God, it's really crazy. It's like, oh my God. It's because
Yeah.
when you think about the Vegas, you think about luxury and so on. But Esports Awards deserve it. I think it deserves it. So, well, I want to go a little bit further into detail. Like, how you managed to organize this event in Las Vegas, because as you tell us already, when we have the first program, it was with the pandemic situation, it was quite complicated, and now having this amazing event in no one else like the Vegas, I want to hear more from that. How you organize it? How was the team doing it? It was complicated, I imagine, to organize it there, or was not? And you tell us
Yeah.
already what is the reason why you choose that place.
I think well, whenever you move, there are a lot of challenges and logistics that come with it because you're upping your infrastructure.
Hmm.
And I obviously hail out of the United Kingdom. You can pretty much get anywhere in the UK in around 3-4 hours. In America, sort of fairly longer time frames for travel. But we knew at the end of 2021, after we had finished the event in Arlington, Texas, that we had the opportunity to find a new home and to do something a little bit different. And for us, after we'd came through our move to America, we'd overcame the pandemic, and we'd sort of launched this mega event back in 2021. We knew there was the chance to sort of surprise and delight all of the attendees. And you mentioned something earlier, which is the Esports Awards deserve this. For me, I actually think the industry deserved this on its whole, because we're effectively a representation of all of the different facets in the ecosystem that make up the esports industry. So for me,
True.
we're only ever a representation of the publishers, the tournament organizers, the teams, the brands, the supporting agencies that work so hard in their fields to make esports continue to tick. So it was this excitement that actually it's a testament to all the hard work over the entire industry. So whilst we get to have the shiny new home, we get to welcome everyone that allowed it to happen too, the Resorts World Las Vegas Theatre, to showcase what our industry as a whole has achieved, which is really cool. But yeah, I mean, it was a challenge, and there were points when it wasn't going to work out and we weren't going to have this new opportunity in theatre, and all of these new perks that come with being in Vegas. Sort of a very incremental process. We're very grateful to Kim Meltzer from Destination Esports, who helped us to put it together. She had the vision actually of where this could be, and she had the contacts over in Vegas to say there's a match to be made here and there's something that can happen, and then a lot of hard work from the team in making it actually a reality, because you can have an idea and you can have a dream and you can have a vision, but the difference between saying yeah we're moving to Vegas and actually doing it is pretty extreme. So it's been a challenge. There's been a lot of hours put in to get to this point, but I'm excited with a month ago that we're just about making it.
We are really excited, and I wanted to say from here that thank you to your team, because they have been an amazing job, and we're really excited. It's just a few days, so it's going to be a really amazing, and we have you here for the exclusive, so that's nice.
So we are very excited to have the Sports Awards in Las Vegas, and it's a very flashy destination. And Las Vegas is related to luxury, to all the flashy galas and so on. And I would like to ask you, what's going to be different in the Sports Awards in Las Vegas from other editions?
Yes.
It's a good question. And I mean, obviously the scale is a lot bigger. I mean, if you track the actual history of the awards, we've sort of gone from £1 million venue in London to a $10 million venue in Arlington, Texas, to a $4.3 billion mega resort in Vegas. So the scale alone is astronomical and it's not something you can quantify. None of us can sort of imagine that level of money or that amount of investment into one resort with one theatre in it. So I think it's going to be bigger, it's going to be brighter, we can expect higher production quality, and for those on the ground, a lot of experience. Whenever we've done things in the past, we've always tried to plan people's adventures for them so that when they come into town, they have a set itinerary from the second they have the plane sort of touch down on the tarmac to the second they leave. Whereas with Vegas, what we found is that we don't have to orchestrate as much of the experience because people want to do their own thing as well. So whilst we're still building out business, conference, and different experience and activities, we've also left enough time for people to go and get their own stories from Vegas and their own way of planning a journey. But there's a lot planned. There's a lot that we have. I won't spoil it all just yet, but certainly one to follow.
Oh no! I'm going to ask you rather what you can tell us a little bit the itinerary, how it's going to. One small things that you can tell us this person who is going to arrive, what they can find out there? A little bit, just a little bit, just to have a little
Lots.
taste.
I'm worried. I can picture my team right now looking at me like, "What are you saying? What are you saying?" At this point, I can tell you we're pulling out all the stops. We have some very famous faces joining us who may or may not also use the theatre outside of the Esports Awards and be from a very mainstream background. There you go. There's a little spoiler.
Great. Thank you so much for the exclusive. I'm so excited.
I would like to ask you, since the offline events are going on, how was the reception, especially being in another continent like the USA? How is the situation in the USA and in the sport, affecting the sports awards after COVID?
A very good question. Again, I think it's something we take very seriously. Last year, we were a zero COVID event, so we had 0 cases of COVID on the back of the Esports Awards
Congrats.
of 2021. Yeah, I mean, given the fact it was in Texas as well, we felt very good that we managed to protect people, keep people safe, and make sure everyone went home healthy for Thanksgiving at that stage. And we continue to take it very seriously. Where we've evolved with the situation is that we follow all of the local guidance, the guidelines, and the advice. But at this point, we're pleased to announce that it's not impacting people's events, not impacting their travel. And then people have their own choices to make around how they want to protect themselves via masks and testing whilst they're on the ground and with us.
So amazing. And you're taking all this into account. So congrats. I wish to be there. I wish it. Maybe in the
Me
future.
too.
But actually, we are really happy because this year it was the first opportunity for 4 Spaniards who is going to be in the panelists. One of them is going to be our big boss. From those, I imagine, is Emilio.
Emilio, our boss, the man who makes Sports Lights possible. Virginia
He's
Calvo.
controlling our airtime right now as well. So shout out Emilio.
I think it's going to be really excited. I told him that I'm going to ask you why. Of course, I understand why you choose him. And as Lourdes was saying, like, for example, Virginia, Alvar Martin as well, and more people are going to be placed. So from the Spanish side, we are really excited, but I wanted to know more why you choose them. Of course, we imagine why, and then I think I talk for all the industry, especially for the Spaniards, that we know why. But I would love to hear from you.
Definitely. And again, it's something that we take very, very important and seriously at the Esports Awards. We have an ever-evolving panel and requirement. And I think from a perspective, Spain as a whole, it's something they should be very proud of, because it's a region that has grown very quickly and almost demanded the acknowledgement of being taken seriously in esports and having that acknowledgement overall. So it's something we always plan to do. We very much see the Esports Awards as the global Esports Awards and all encompassing, but we still have a small team. So there's only so much infrastructure you can build. And I feel like Spain has been a breakout star in esports over the last few years. And with that, we want to make sure we have the right experts and officials from Spain that can help make sure that we do things in the right way, that we're authentic to your scene, and that we make sure that you're integrated. So we find it very important. We want to make sure we can do as much as possible to represent you in the right way, whilst also welcoming you to the panel and also being appreciative for the support as well, because in the same way that it was a big honor to be part of it, you're now actually being able to support in the shortlisting and the decision-making process that helps to create this wider scene where everyone can have a little bit more recognition for their efforts.
As you say, Spain is getting stronger in the sports industry, and it's very lovely to have this representation on the Sports Awards. We are very proud. And you have very strong panelists in the Sports Awards. And I would like to ask you which criteria you take into consideration when choosing the panelists for Sports Awards, and how are they selected?
It's a long process. There's a lot that goes into it. We are very selective and very picky with those that get to represent on the panel, because every panelist has the right to nominate, they have the right to vote, and they effectively influence the outcome of each award. So we have very specific criteria that you can find on our website. They must represent certain genres to make sure they fill skill gaps. They must have a certain level of expertise, and they must have an opinion that reflects and complements others on the panel when it comes down to the decision-making process. Once they fill all that criteria, they can then apply it on the website, and they can get submitted to the rest of the panel members, who then actually vote on their eligibility and whether they feel they would be a good fit for the panel. So we have around 75 people that sit on that panel. So to be selected as a judge actually takes a good amount of effort, and you do have to have a majority to be able to do so. And I believe it's a 75% majority. So it's a big process and a big achievement in its own right.
No, but it's amazing because as you in previous season when you were here, you were explaining a little bit how the follow step that you have. It's really transparent, so you can see how it's all taken into account, all the details, and that show why it's so amazing the thing that you're doing with this event. And well, I'm really excited, and I hope Emilio. I think he will be listening, and he will be flattered. And I'm really hope to see everything from him, and especially I imagine it's going to be with all the panelists. It's going to take place on these great decisions, and it's going to take place. But I would like to know more. How, for example, about the categories, because we were having the opportunity to have the other day to Matt Mobile. He was really great. A world host. He was coming here and he was explaining how he was promoting the mobile esport industry. And I want to know how you explain us how you decide to new categories. Are you considered any news for this new edition or maybe for the 2023 maybe? And how is the process to select this new section, for example, if it's possible?
Yeah, definitely. So every January, the whole panel gets together to go through feedback. So they look at how the last award ceremony went, the representation, the categories, and they also look at how things have been changing within the scene. So actually a good example is the fact that 3 to 4 years ago, we didn't have mobile gaming award categories. They didn't exist. Similarly, we didn't have grassroots or collegiate level award categories. So the panel come together and they listen to community feedback and they look at all the recommendations and the build outs, and then they vote on which categories should continue to be awards and any that might actually have been outgrown during the process. So there's probably a good amount of hours that go in at that stage that help to understand, is this something that fits into our existing categories, or is it something that needs something of its own category at that stage? And even the overarching groups that awards fit into. We have our entertainment awards, we have our creative awards, our industry awards, our pro, and also our on-air talent categories that make up the overarching bodies of the Esports Awards, that then different awards fit into. So even those come under scrutiny each year to understand if they're relevant, if they serve purpose, if they fit in with what the community want, and if they fit in with what the professionals want as well, to make sure that we're always evolving and always flexible. The one thing I like about the fact that we are still quite a young organization, and this will be our 7th ceremony, is we haven't got to a point where we are rigid. We're always very flexible to being able to change, to improve, and to find ways forward that best represent our community. And I think that's why we get such mass scale adoption, is because your points always matter and your nominations and votes will always be true to what you want them to be. So it's a big process. There's a lot of hours that go into it. And then ultimately every March or April, we get to announce what the new awards look like.
But tell us that if there is any new category that you're considered or not yet. I have to ask.
It's a good question. So last year we brought in Content Group of the Year, which is sort of the sister category to Content Creator. So that was one of the adaptations that's happened over time, is whereas you used to have a lot of independent or individual content creators, you're seeing the rise of content groups that come together to make content. So you have the likes of Offline TV or OTK or sort of all these different super brands that need recognition in their own way now as a collective. So we brought that in last year. For 2023, I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm not as involved with the panel. I sort of get a list afterwards of what looks good. But I'm excited as you are to see what that looks like.
I'm really excited.
Me too. We're talking about the new categories in the Sports Awards, and I've seen that you have included a category related to the blockchain technology, Web3. How do you currently see this niche within the sports?
Or are you taking into consideration that? I think I wanted to know if there is going to be to happen this because we are seeing
Mm.
like a lot of um, plays and play to earns
Hmm.
and a lot of people who are involved in this section. And I don't know if maybe in the future it would be a category or something. We are more curious if that could be happening on how you see it by your personal view.
It's something we continue to monitor and measure, and I think something the Western world has to take into account is there isn't always a level playing field when it comes to gaming, because not everyone has access to the same budgets to buy gaming PCs or streaming equipment. And one thing that blockchain and sort of Web3 allows is new mechanisms that allow people to even out the playing field. So you mentioned Mobile Matt Rutledge. He's doing a lot of really cool stuff with BayZ at the moment, where there is play to earn technology, where actually playing games rewards you and gives you the opportunity to evolve your setup in real life. Whereas most of us play to level up our characters, actually you get to level up your equipment and build a better experience for yourself in gaming. I think they're the kind of initiatives that we're looking at from our side to keep recognizing and celebrating the things that are leveling the playing field, that are sort of stopping the digital divide where possible. I think it's still a market that is growing and people are understanding the utilitarian function and how they can sort of benefit from it before we can really start sort of celebrating that and intertwining it.
And now, of course, we're doing a lot of formal questions, but now I would like to ask you like a funny one, just to know
Ooh.
any anecdotes that you can tell us from this experience, how it's been, if you was almost dying with all the nervous, with all the managing to do it this together. Any anecdote that you can tell us and share with us, that would be nice.
Yeah, gosh, I feel on the spot with this one. I guess there's a lot to go into. I'll go with my sentimental one first, which is I'm just so proud of where this company stands in 2022 and what this means. And I think one thing we're probably guilty of as a small team is not actually taking in or realizing the stature of what we're trying to achieve for the industry as a whole. So for me, the fact that we are building out this award show in Vegas at the most expensive resort, and we will be the first ever award ceremony to take place at Resorts World in one of the best theaters worldwide. That's something that I think we're probably just starting to realize and understand and take in and absorb. And again, I just want to reinforce that such an important thing for the industry. We've all seen some challenges. We've seen some businesses go through some turmoil this year. And we always look at that like beacon of hope. I'm hoping this year the Esports Awards, being in this incredible venue and this incredible destination, can be that beacon of hope for any startups that are going through adversity or financial difficulty, to get them to keep going and trust the process and back themselves. If they're building something of value, their time will come and they'll have that opportunity to break through. In terms of funny moments, I guess one that I can say is Discord tends to be our virtual office. We have staff working around the world. We have been infiltrated by a game called Putt Party, which is sort of a mini game on Discord. There are many nights that we waste some good hours of productivity taking each other on the virtual golf course. And just generally leading into sort of these areas of delirium effectively, where none of us quite understand how we're still awake or up or building out different projects. But whenever someone summons you to a game of Putt Party, it's time to go. And I hold the record as well, so I'm a happy gamer.
I love it. I love it.
Me too. That's lovely. Also, we were talking about before the panelists and the criteria you follow when choosing a panelist. And I would like to ask you for the rest of the audience, which is exactly the role of a panelist in the Sports Awards?
They are, in effect, the judges of the process from start to finish. So they work together as subject matter experts in their different fields, be it they're experts in the industry and on the business side and understanding the dynamics of a macro and micro environment, or they're experts on specific titles or genres such as MOBA or FPS or RTS or whatever that might be. And they all come together as a steering group that will decide on which award categories make it into each program and each year. They will work out what the nominations look like for each category, whilst taking into account the community shortlists and nominations as well. They will help to advise and fill any gaps in each other's knowledge so that you know you're making the right decision. They build context and analysis so that you can actually interpret how does a League of Legends player stack up against an Overwatch player, stack up a CSGO player. And finally, the big process is they will decide who gets to go onto the stage and lift the trophies as they vote alongside the community for those who deserve to win.
That's so nice. Imagine that Emilio said.
I hope Emilio votes for us. Best host, Yasmina and me. Just
That would be
joking.
really lovely. That would be really nice. Well, Emilio highlighted maybe for the Esports or Business Life that would be awards. That would be nice. And also, well, there are so many questions that I would like to ask, and one of them was how feel the community when they realized that you're going to hold the event in Las Vegas, because you prepared a video that was really fun to watch and in some parts sentimental. So how do you feel it was the community feeling with that event? How do you think they are really excited about it, or maybe they will prefer all the locations? I think not, but just to know a little bit.
Yeah, I think accessibility is always a big one for us. I think overall there was so much excitement and so much sort of energy around the move. I think people are always looking for the next big thing and the next sort of big piece of news. So it was almost sort of that for a lot of people of, oh, wow, like this is happening. This is real. This is very exciting. I think there's always a little bit of a shame for us. We like to cater to as many people as possible. So by moving away from Arlington, Texas, not everyone can afford to then go and travel over to Vegas to be with us. But we try and do the best job we can on that side. This will be the first time in 3 years we're able to welcome a general admission audience to come and enjoy the awards with us. Something I feel very passionately about is that if you really believe in esports and in gaming, then you have to nurture the next generation and you have to create that grassroots ambition and appetite for gamers. So for me, being able to welcome back fans to the room and actually have them sort of see these people win these awards. And if you can have one person sit there and say, I want to be on that stage during my career and winning an esports award, then it served its purpose.
I think it too. It's like normalized, like this is something that they recognize, they deserve. So we watch all the times the Oscars, and I think they are in somehow losing it. So why not Esports Awards? They deserve it. They're doing a pretty good job here.
Definitely. But I will say I will always miss Arlington, Texas. I have to say it was a dream host and home for us. And there was an immense amount of pride in our team that we were the award show in the first ever dedicated esports stadium. And we were looked after very, very well by the Arlington Convention and Visitors Bureau as well. And last year they actually had all the street banners with our branding on, showcasing the Esports Awards in Arlington, Texas, which meant a great deal to us. And I feel like after 3 years, we've just got to the point where actually like people recognized the event and they recognized us when we were in town. And that created its whole load of energy. So we're in year 1 in Vegas. We're back to earning our reputation and sort of creating these mega events. And I can't wait to see how the next few years unfold.
Pretty excited.
Yay. We were talking about how the Oscars are like the top notch we are aiming at when hosting a sports awards gala. Also, video games are now a powerful industry. It's said that it makes more money than cinema actually. And now we are sorry?
I was saying that it's true that they makes more money than music and cinema together. That's amazing.
Yeah. And also sports are so in the way. And I would like to ask you, what's necessary to sports to become such a respected industry or mainstream industry like the Oscars? Well, the Oscars more like
I think
cinema,
it's happening.
You know.
I think, yeah. I mean, if you went back to the start of the Oscars, I think it was a very different show and athlete attitude and perception to it than it is today. And they have that benefit of history and sort of decades upon decades of establishing itself. We aren't even at a decade old yet. And I already look at the fact that we have incredible viewership, incredible resorts looking to host this event. And we've almost skipped some stages, which is probably what most of our industry is guilty of, is we've grown so quickly that a lot of the systems have to be reverse engineered actually to understand how you monetize this, how you create the value proposition. And that's why we're seeing a bit of a market correction at the moment. For me, I just remain very excited about it. If you take the latest Call of Duty title, it did $1 billion in revenue in its first week. And that's one of the fastest selling box office films of all time, in effect, in comparison to it. And is only a statement during a recession at this point, realistically, that a game can still go and do that at the same time. I mean, if you put COD into the top 100 films of all time from a grossing perspective, it'll be pretty high to the top. If you put GTA 5 in the same way. So I'm very upbeat on gaming and competitive gaming. As it stands, I feel like there are all these opportunities. It just takes a little bit of time for it to trickle down because the publishers need to get their return on investment. And then from there, everyone else sort of benefits off the back as we go.
That's amazing. And also, I would like to make these questions and see how you're going to develop it. So in this case, how do you feel, or in your personal opinion, how Esports Award is bringing value to the ecosystem? I think you can say something amazing. So, but if the people are here listening to you, what they can hold for Esports Award? How
I think there's a lot. I think it's sentimentally, it creates magic moments like no one else can that brings the whole industry together. That for me is the most important thing. Is everyone in the industry has their own challenges and struggles and things they're trying to come through, and we've become very siloed. If you look at the ecosystem and you say none of the publishers want to work together anymore, they're building their own sort of IP and value. None of the tournament organizers really come together. None of the teams really play with each other. What we've actually done is we've created a platform that brings everyone back together in the same room and gets them to celebrate as a whole. Because one thing I always say is that esports isn't really competing with each other. The teams aren't really competing with each other outside of the games. Whereas during the games, they're competitors and they're rivals and they all want to win and lift a trophy. Outside of the games, they're not enemies. Like, that's the big thing. And the people that they're actually challenging and vying to go against are the other people taking sponsorship dollars. It's traditional sports, it's the film industry, it's the music industry, it's the TV industry. That's where they need to derive revenue from effectively. And one of the ways you get there is actually working as a united front to help everyone to increase the dollar values on their sponsorship deals, to build media broadcast right deals that allow them to actually generate more and more revenue. And also even to decrease their costs. Everyone's paying for the same systems, the same metrics, the same Nielsen reports time and time again, because they feel they're competing for and fighting for the same sponsorship dollars. Whereas if you build a bigger pond, then everyone gets a chance to fish. If you're all in the same puddle, we all know what happens. So I think that's why the event and the platform is so important, is because it does bring everyone back together and is almost a big reset every year where everyone goes out, they all compete with each other, they all are rivals. And then it gets to the end of the year and you sit there and you think, hang on, like, we've all done some pretty amazing stuff. Like, as a testimony, like, we've all been here and done something amazing. And this is the chance to celebrate it, reset, and then I'll see you on the battlefield next year.
That's amazing answer. And I think the audience is quite excited about it. There are people who say, great answer, Mike, got some incredible insight, and it's a breath of fresh air to listen to. Also, people who are saying,
shout out me.
They're giving you an award.
Always.
Another one.
Yet another one, yeah. There's something I would like to ask you. When I was checking the nominees on the Sports Awards, I checked that there are two separate categories for casters, the play-to-play and color casters. And many people told me, oh, what's the difference between a color caster and a play-to-play caster? And I would like to ask you why this separation, which is the main difference between a color caster and a play-to-play caster.
Definitely. So it's a very Western
I know,
term,
but,
very
but I would like you to explain it for the audience.
Absolutely. So if we go for it, the play-by-play caster, firstly, is the person that gets to call the action. They are storytelling in the moment and live, breaking down all of the big plays, the team fights, the moments, and almost pulling detail out of each of it. So they're sort of interpreting the team fight, they're building it and creating those iconic moments that you can think of. When you had that big faker moment on Zed versus Zed, like that big icon where you can almost imagine the casting and the commentary, that's the play-by-play caster, immortalizing the moment and breaking it out. The color caster creates the context. They're going to build up to the fights. They're going to give you the stats on why someone's everyone's buying specific items or preparing in a certain way, that's almost leading you towards why a team fight might go one way or the other, or why one team is seen as an underdog or a favorite at a certain moment. They're going to bring a lot more metrics and stats and justification as to how things are playing before that the play-by-play caster gets to jump in and sort of break down that moment. And then off the back of it, the color caster will then catch off the back of it and then bring in the analysis of, hey, actually, the reason they lost that team fight is because 5 minutes ago I told you that they'd itemized wrong, or they were building wrong, or there were specific instances that actually led to a smaller percentage chance of them winning.
It's a very good explanation. And I'm happy that you separated the two categories, because when you are casters have a lot of profiles. You also have the more analytic profile, the more like showman or showwoman profile, and that's very good.
Yeah, and it's a really exciting one for us, and actually evidence of how our panel come to create value for the Esports Awards. Because when we first did this, we had one award for the talent, which was Broadcaster of the Year. And that had to go for host, stage host, analyst, stage analyst, color caster, caster of the year, and any other roles. And actually over time, what happened is we evolved to have this on-air talent category that then allowed us to bring in host of the year, color caster, play-by-play, stage analyst, and all these different facets. And then actually one of the things I love is once those awards get handed out, you basically have like an all-star roster that you could take onto a broadcast, because you have what is seen to be the best host in the world and all the best of the other roles. That basically becomes like the dream team from a casting or hosting perspective.
I totally agree.
And of course, because Laura is actually an amazing caster, maybe in somehow in the future we see it there. That would be really
Absolutely.
amazing. And
I will love to. I have a long way to go, but a woman can dream about, okay?
You can dream, and maybe you can do it in the future. And I would like to encourage the people who are listening to us, if you have any questions, go ahead. If not, you can always contact him. You have all the social media from Mike, and you can contact him on Twitter and LinkedIn, and also you have the Esports World Quant as well. So take advantage. And now I would like to focus more in the future. Because I know it's actually the event is going to take place in a few days. Actually, it's almost there. It's close there. But how you, for example, are you planning the project for 2023 already, or you just main focus right now to this event, or are you preparing something for the near future?
We're preparing, always preparing.
Yes, I know it. You're a clever boy. I know it.
Yeah, we never rest on our laurels, it's fair to say. So we always want to make sure there's always something exciting to grip people and give them the best experience. So we have new platforms we want to launch, new experiences, and new ways to add value to the ecosystem.
That's great. Can you tell us something? Maybe it's more something.
Well, I want to be at your award show next year as well. I was sad I missed it this year.
No, don't
I'm a
worry.
big fan of Tenerife, so it was close.
But don't worry, because we are going to hold it the next year as well, and it's going to be more amazing. So you're going to be there for sure, and I hope so. And I can bring you the amazing local food because I'm from Tenerife. So
Definitely, great garlic prawns, gambas pil.
I love it.
That's one of the most interesting part. And we were talking about how the sports awards have evolved since the first edition, and how have you incorporated new categories, new criteria. And I would like to ask you, how do you feel the sports industry is evolving this year?
Or the next year.
It's a good question. I feel like I can only give a slightly gloomy answer on this one at the moment, which is we're going through a little bit of a market correction, ultimately, which the whole world is going through. A lot of people like to take esports stats on their own and sort of be the doom bringers, so to speak. What they're not doing is looking at the fact that every industry is feeling pain as it stands in 2022. With that, there is opportunity and there is value and there is the chance for other companies to get more recognition and notice as we go through it, which I think is one of the things we're seeing, is that we've always stuck to our limits. We've always tried to work as much as we can to build and deliver value for as many as possible. And we've ended up in Resorts World Las Vegas, which is pretty crazy. I think there'll be a lot of identity and understanding of how we drive this industry going forward, and more than ever sort of push for experience for fans as sort of the drivers. I think my big shout for 2023 is actually grassroots and collegiate. I'm a big believer actually in the volume of students that want to be a part of the industry, that want to find a way into it, as being that next wave that will demand value back and demand support, but also help service providers to build stable foundations and businesses.
That's amazing. So, well, we're pretty excited to see how it's going to hold this event. I'm excited to hear all what is going to happen. Maybe we will see some marriage suddenly because it's always happening in the movies.
You can marry straight away in Las Vegas. Do you expect people to get married on the Esports Awards?
So true story. We almost had a sponsor who were going to do an activation that involved two esports fans getting married in order to come to the ceremony and have a VIP experience. So it was all around the fact that people had to put off their weddings during the pandemic, and the sponsor wanted to be able to give them the wedding of a lifetime in Vegas whilst coming to the Esports Awards. It was a stronger than 50% chance that was going to happen. Sadly, not this year.
Not this year, but maybe next year we will see it. But thank you so much, Mike, for having here. And if the audience have, I will let you 1 minute and see if anyone is going to ask anything. If not, I understand that you have your time, and thank you so much for being here and tell us this exclusive about the event, who is going to hold in a few. Well, it's almost like the close week, but
now they are typing very fast the question. And speaking about speed, there's a category in sports, I would consider it a sport. There's a category in content creation that I've discussed many times that should be considered a sports category. And I would like to ask you, have you ever considered create a category called the Speedrunner of the Year?
Oh, nice.
It's something we've considered and always came back to effectively. I think it's got a place to play. I think it's just how it gets adopted. It's always sort of having that trickle down of who's publishing the titles, who's running the tournaments, who's adjudicating them, who's verifying them, for us to then be able to come in and add a layer of depth under it. I think other genres have always had a stronger representation. So when you look at first-person shooters, there's always really strong titles with big sort of tournament organizers backing them. Speedrunning is sort of still very indie in its own way, whilst being fiercely supported. And I'm sure someone will shout at me for calling it indie, even in 2022. We remain big fans. We just don't know how to incorporate it at this point.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's a very interesting one.
Yeah,
sure. I'm preparing for my Resident Evil speedrun, so
love
not
it.
really, but I will consider it.
You can
I love Resident Evil speedruns. They are my favorite.
Definitely, they're very good games, and we love to watch it.
And that leads me to another question. We have spoken about speedrunners, and no hitters is a growing genre within the content creation world. I would like to ask you: have you considered including no hitters in the Sports Awards?
I think
games like Elden Ring or Dark Souls are very popular with no hitters.
Yeah, and I think even Skyrim back in the day, it's a big one for us. It's exciting. And then you're looking at the next iteration of that coming out, and even GTA will have a new game in the near future, which means that even role play is a genre that will come back to prominence. I think again, I'm going to default to the fact the panel are the ones that really get to sort of direct and point where this moves and who gets that recognition year on year.
That's something to look at.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to playing the new Pokemon game on Friday, though, Violet.
I have. Let's go.
I have on the table right now Bayonetta 3 and God of War. So.
Oh, nice.
You're full right now, but I don't know, Mike, if you know about that the Pokemon, it's going to be inspired in Spain, and there was so much memes, so much humor in the internet regarding this, so much.
Ooh.
I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I don't get to game as often, but there's always that point on the plane where I'll get to claw a few hours back. So that's what I'm holding out for. Actually, it was our commercial director, Nathan, that managed to convince me to buy a Switch. And I was like, I shouldn't buy a Switch because I won't get any time. And it's sat in a cupboard since, if I'm honest. So I'm looking forward to actually getting to justify that purchase.
I hope you enjoy it because I actually have a Switch too, and from time to time, it has a lot of there has a good catalog actually. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you so much, Mike, for being here. Oh, there is
Oh, do you have a common question? Which is your favorite Pokemon?
Yeah.
They said in Spanish, but
It's got to be going back. Yeah, it's got to be back at the start. Pokemon Yellow, I'm gonna say, back with the classics. I think as soon as you found out how to make Pikachu surf, that was the point where it was
Oh, that's
defining
true.
legacy.
Yeah.
I
Although
like
actually,
it.
I was a big fan of Gold and Silver as well, because you got to that point where you thought you'd finished the game, and then all of a sudden you're back in Kanto. And like when I think I was like 7 when Pokemon Red and Blue came out, and then 8 when they relaunched for Yellow. So at that point, I was just learning how to game. Like I didn't know what I was doing, and then when I was trying to go through Seafoam Islands and catch Articuno, I had no idea what I was doing. I couldn't read a strategy guide at that point. And then when they released Gold and Silver, I was a little bit older, so I could appreciate a lot of the details. And even at that point, things that felt like Easter eggs, like when they had the shiny Pokemon for the first time and you suddenly had a red Gyarados, like they were very cool moments.
For me, for example, for me, Gold and Silver was one of my favorite because, as you said, you finish the game and you can go to Kanto, and it's like, oh my god, this is so huge. And when I have Scarlet, I think, and I was expecting like, well, now I can go to Kanto, and I can go that, and it was not like that. I was so disappointed at that time.
I know, it was crazy, and that's it. You get to fight Ash at the end of the game, so there's just so much content, and then. You go into the next ones, although with the next ones, you got to go on like the quest to get like Rayquaza and Reggie Ice and all of those.
It's true.
Good.
It's true. So I'm really excited about it. You will tell us how it's going to be the game. I hope so.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'll come and do a review next week.
How do you feel Pokemon is doing in the sports competition this year with the next Pokemon game?
I love seeing Pokemon come into esports. I think we started to see a bit of it with Pokemon Go and competitive events with that, where it's collaborative and in real time. And I think Pokemon Unite now has taken on that almost MOBA-like presence where people are engaging and they understand it. It's familiar faces and characters. I'm excited to see that continue. I hope they bring down some of the paywalls, but it's an incredible title.
I'm very excited too. And also, I think Pokemon Go has broadened the Pokemon fan base and has brought Pokemon into people who aren't fond of video games or who didn't know video games at all. And I think that's their greatest hit, one of the greatest hits in the series.
Definitely.
I hope to see it evolve really, because this year was the opportunity to see how Husk game. And he became the champion as Ketchum, and now it's like, oh my god, my memories. And you remember when you have, for example, your console and you play with the other and you compete with him, like you can play with your Pokemon. So that was really nice.
Yeah, just 20 years of trying. Never give up on trying to win a trophy, right?
That's true. 25.
Right, I better get back to work at this point, I'll be honest.
Okay.
So
thank you very much for being here with us today. It was lovely to speak with you, and we are very excited about the upcoming Sports Awards. Now we are in the voting phase, in the voting session, the voting phase, the voting stage.
Yeah.
And you have the possible nominees, and you have to vote which are the final nominees to the Sports Awards. So you can go to
It was 1 month yesterday until the Esports Awards 2022, which we're obviously very excited about. And obviously you can still vote, so www.esportsawards.com, and we still have a few tickets left if you want to come and join us in Vegas, which we're very excited about. And you can find all of the details on the website alongside the voting.
So everyone follow there and have all the information, and later maybe we will publish it so you can have access to it. And thank you so much, Mike, for being here. It's a pleasure to have you again. Probably we see you next year from Tenerife, maybe. Who knows? Maybe you're going
Sports
to
Awards in
hand
Tenerife.
over
I totally see that.
nice. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to spoil anything. We don't know.
We could have the after party at Lineker's.
That's
Ooh.
true. We can have it up front. Thank you so much again for having here. It's always a pleasure to hear you and to learn more from this event and have you as a guest, an amazing guest. And thank you so much, Laura, for being here and having this program with me. I'm really excited to have you all. And thank you for the audience for listening. And follow him, Mike, because he has a lot of amazing content. He's a nice person. So follow him.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you
Pleasure
very
to
much.
be here as well.
Thank you very much, and see you throughout this week. Remember that we have other programs in Sports Be Live. We have Sports Be Live Workers, Corporate Innovation, and so on. So follow us on Twitter, on Twitch, on LinkedIn, and so on. We're everywhere.
We have all the social media ready.
We have conquered, and as you see, the Sports Award, the Sports Be Live Award, the Mike Ashford shows in his setup.
Always. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you very much. Lots of
Bye-bye.
kisses, and bye-bye.